Hi, today we are going to take you through the setting up of a brand new rig on a brand new B14 GBR 799 rapid fire team Seavolution North Sails dinghy show boat 2020, which is yet to be sailed. Also, this will have relevance to anybody installing a brand new rig in their existing B14. Here we have a brand new B14, the dinghy show boat from 2019. Due to COVID-19, the boat is yet to be launched or to be rigged correctly. So today I will take you through the process of setting the boat up and getting it ready to use with either a North LGM8 3DL or MR1 mainsails. The mainsail we'll be using today is the new North MR1. When first setting up a B14 rig, the primary things to do to the mast before you even start the build of putting the boat together is check the spreader alignment. Top and bottom is exactly the same. You can adjust the spreaders accordingly to accommodate any errors in the bracket, and if you see here, you'll see the yellow lines intersect and line up. Okay, the other thing you need to do is put calibrations on the mast, which we have available in stock, and at 3 points on the equal points on the mast, so dividing the mast into quarters, put white bands around the track. This will offer you a reference point which you can then replicate throughout the time you own this mast and this boat. That means that if you have any changes in your settings due to wire movement in on the mast or at the T-terminals or any other things, you can record and replicate that a second time. So there's one there just below the bottom spreader, there's one just over halfway below the top spreader, and there's one a third of the way between the cap terminals and the cap spreaders. Checking the deflection, and this one measures at 125. is you need to measure the spreader lengths, and we recommend that you have them in half a hole from max length for the European North sails for both top and bottom. So you measure from the wall of the mast to the inside of the wire as seen here. These settings are not the exact ones we use, as we are in the process of setting this mast up. Use a loose gauge to check the caps, forestay and lowers tensions. The range for the forestay should be 25 to 29, lowers 30 to 37 and caps 8 to 15. When setting up the mast, you want to try and get the mast to the lower spreaders as straight as possible. 3 or 4 millimeter inversion is not a problem, because once the main goes up it will push that section of the mast out, but anything more than about 3 or 4 mil inversion is too much. You're putting the mast in reverse stress. With the pre-bend on the mast, take the pin of the shackle through the middle of the pin on the gooseneck and run your eye up the mast, and you will see on this occasion that we have a pretty even pre-bend from the lower spreader to the cap spreader, and then the mast goes straight again. The element you're looking for, deflection, is approximately 50 to 75 millimeters with the latest North sails. The tape measure to the main halliage shackle to measure the rake of the mast. Take 2 or 3 turns round the shackle and then tie off on the D part of the shackle with at least 2 clove hitches so you don't get any slippage once you're measuring in tension. If doing the mast rake and setup on your own, do not put the halyard on a hook, put the halyard into a brace on a knot and tie it as tight as you can. On this setup here you can see with a new mast that the halyard will need to be extended once the setup's done to allow the main halyard to hook onto the bottom hook. So on this occasion the halyard will need extending about 80 to 85 millimeters. Mast rate taking 1 off the forestay down to 7,200, or in intention 7199. This is within the range required for rake. I have not adjusted the shrouds or the caps. I've lost on the loose gauge, I've lost 1 unit on both the caps and the shrouds with dropping the pin, or rather raising the pin 1 hole on the front, and if I drop it 1 hole on the front I will get the reverse effect. Again, fore and aft, you want to check the mast is not twisted by the spreaders or the misalignment of the mast foot. On this occasion what we have done is run the halyard down the back of the mast against the track, and on this occasion, as with all Seavolution boats, the mast is straight. Next, once you've got the mainsail up, this is how you rig the Cunningham control. You need to have calibrations on the mast, and also you want calibrations out on the boom. The red dot is telling you where the kicker adjustment is at any moment in time. Travelling down the calibration line, the more tension is pulled on. Also, once the main is up, you want to check your rig tension and see what is happening with the mast, i.e. is it in compression or is the rig set up correctly. You will get a slight adjustment, but it should be minimal. I expect to lose on the shrouds maybe a half, forestay slightly, and the cap shrouds can adjust quite significantly. Finally, once you've got everything set up, check that you have the range on the kicker and the range on the Cunningham. On this rig we would expect to pull the main down to about 6 on the Cunningham eye, but at this moment in time the main is a bit tight at the top, and as you can see on the kicker, that is the kicker max on and still with some adjustment. If you notice the boom bend, the B14 boom is designed to bend but not break unless used with too much tension, because any excess tension that goes out through the boom potentially transmits to the top of the mast, and the boom is the weak point on the boat's rig rather than being the mast. And if you look up the caps you will see how slack they are now towards the top. So when you've got this much tension on, effectively the top of the rig is not being supported, and the main will blade from about the GBR upwards, and you'll be driving off the area just above the middle stripe down the mainsail. And finally, this is what the mast looks like with the main up, using the latest variant of the North mainsail. You'll notice that there's some creases going down through the main, very slight ones. They will be due to the batten tensions and the mainsail currently not being in tension.